Welcome to Uncloaked Illusions. I am Chris Anthony, your host, and let's get started. I'm going to address an article, and I'll spearhead from that article with some facts and some figures. This article is labeled America's Urban War Zone. Baltimore doubles Chicago's homicide rate in 2017. And you can also read this article in full on Uncloaked Illusions at wordpress.com. Excuse my voice, I'm just waking up and it sounds like shit. Earlier this year, or the mid part of the year, Donald Trump had alleged he would send the feds into Chicago because the crime was so egregiously high. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. The issue is we have Democrats running the urban areas, the black communities depend on this party to bring it out of oppression. Never seems to happen. Never seems to. Now, Baltimore has suffered 275 gun homicides with a population of just over 621,000. That puts the homicide rate at more than 44 per 100,000. And mind you, Chicago, by June, let's say, had already exceeded over 2,000 in shootings alone. The homicide rate in Chicago is 503. So that is literally 18 people per 100,000 residents. And there's over 2.7 million people in Chicago. Now this is very, very disturbing because I live in New Orleans. And the homicide rate here also is very high, and it's not addressed. It's not addressed in our black communities. It's not addressed with our political leaders. It's not addressed at all with the judicial system. It's not addressed. It's ignored as if it's not happening. Now, the black on black crime has pretty much intensified since the civil rights movement, and that is one's begging the question, how and why did this come about? Well, this is what happens when you allow government to rule every aspect of your life, removing the man from the house and allowing the woman to marry the government. This is the outcome of it. Irresponsible men and irresponsible women deciding to engage in sexual activity, and the woman bears the child, the man leaves because he doesn't feel any integrity to be a father. This is what we get. This is exactly what we get, and I say this, and it's been proven that a woman cannot raise a man to be a man. Excuse my sniffles. Now, the education in the black communities, it's languishing. We're literally at the bottom with only 40% of, maybe more than 40% dropping out of high school. And when it comes to economics, basic economics, black people do not understand basic economics. And this is something that should have been emphasized on because it builds community. And we actually possess no continuity to build or to sustain a community. We have businesses in our neighborhoods, in our communities, and it's pretty much governed by Arabs, it's governed by Asians, it's governed by the Spanish-speaking population. But black people own nothing, and the only thing that we do own is clothing stores, because that's the only thing that in truth we value. Anything that's going to add to the narcissism that's basically an epidemic in America in general. With that being said, there's a great deal of money. I believe the black communities produce at least $1 trillion that goes out of the communities every single year. Now think about that. Over $1 trillion collectively going out of the black communities. But nothing comes back in. The Asians, the Spanish, the Arabs, they literally only support their communities. They hire only their race. But we refuse to do so. We are still stuck in that peculiar institutional slavery mentality. We have not grown, or we've not evolved from that particular mental inhibition, in a sense. Now, also, we fail tremendously in the 9 areas of activity. And that is economics, that's education, that is entertainment, that is labor, that's law, politics, religion, sex, war, counter-war. I won't even touch the religious aspect of it, but law. We don't know law. We don't know the law. Thus the reason we are susceptible to always having to be in a system, because we do not educate ourselves on how the system works. We don't even know the basic Bill of Rights, let alone the basic constitution of each state. We ignore these things and we allow lawyers, district attorneys to, we allow these people to protest or to basically attempt to protect us or get us off. And it never really works for the most part. The solution to that problem is you learn the basic law. You just learn the basic laws of your state, and you'll probably be in a better position than hiring someone to defend you who really it doesn't have your best interests at heart as well. Excuse the sniffles again. The economic side, the abortion rate, which is also very, very shocking and telling, because the women in this country, the black women in this country, make up 6%, but they abort 35%, or they are aborters of 35% of the abortions that take place. That is very, very alarming. 6% of women, and they contribute to 35% of the abortions that happen in the United States. We need to do something about that. Forget the contraceptives that we as taxpayers and men, we pretty much distribute to women who want to be irresponsible. We need to teach safe sex. We need to teach responsible sex. I do recall that being a course in school, and I do know that it just went over a lot of people's head. But this is something that we should focus on more so, is being responsible, because there is no accountability whatsoever in the black community. Also the incarceration. We're literally 37% of the incarceration that is in America. And the system literally is designed to oppress black people in that area. And that's my opinion. And we fall for it. We fall for it every single turn. These black single mothers, they're producing these criminal-minded people. And not only criminal-minded, they're also producing irresponsible people who just won't accept not only reality, but accept their issues, that won't accept what they do in society. They're not productive members of society whatsoever. And we definitely need to address these issues, because turning a blind eye to it and pretending as if they don't exist, it's not going to do anything but become a compounding effect of all the other issues. And I'm sorry, I love my black people, but they need to wake the hell up. It's been 140 years since the Civil War, the American Civil War. There's no way we should still be stuck and locked into that psyche. No way. I mean, I see my black people and I see them more intrigued and interested and enthusiastic about the way an onlooker perceives them. They want to look like they have money and probably have none. And they don't understand the difference between money and wealth. That's also an issue. We don't understand economics. We don't understand money, but we want to floss. We want to, as one would say, ball. We want to give the impression that we have money. And that also causes an issue, because most people who deem money to be their God, they're literally bankrupt morally. They're piss poor in that area for the most part. Again, excuse the sniffles. And also, we worry about this cop killing epidemic that is going on when 93% of blacks are killed by blacks. That's also something that needs to be addressed. You don't hear anything from Jesse Jackson. You don't hear anything from Al Sharpton, the NAACP, Black Lives Matter when it's black on black crime, because you know what? They would literally fucking exhaust themselves, excuse my French, if they had to deal with the issues within the communities of the black people. And that is black on black crime. That is that crabs in a barrel mentality that we have not escaped. Now I'm going to cut this short, and I'll just make this as literally a segment, because this is a topic that needs to be furthered in expression and furthered in addressing. You can follow me on Twitter, Uncloaked Delusions. You can follow me on my blog as far as articles. For the most part, what I put out on my blogs is normally what I discuss. I shall get a teacher. I've gotten a teacher to agree to do an interview, so that's something that'll be coming that you can look forward to. Had a conversation with this young man, and the things that they displayed about the education system and the policies that's implemented, I think would be very, very interesting to share with the world. Also, you can follow me on the YouTube channel, Uncloaked Delusions, and I will be releasing some more information, my thoughts, and how I feel about certain subjects. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful evening.